Okay, so as I had already told you, uh, today we're going to discuss about identification of cormorants and egrets. And my name is Balaji. I am from Coimbatore Nature Society, also part of Salimali Naturalist Forum. I did a course in ornithology from Bombay Natural History Society. I'm also an eBird reviewer for Coimbatore district. Now, actually, I mean, the way that we have structured this presentation is similar to the way that we have structured the other presentations, the identification of pipits and identification of larks. So we're going to look at cormorants. We're going to look at how to identify the cormorants seen in our region. We're going to summarize. There's going to be two quizzes. So we're going to have a quiz separately for the cormorants found in our region and another separate quiz for the grids. So we have going to have like two separate quizzes. And I request you to keep your microphones on mute and go follow through the presentation. You can unmute and when if you want to participate in the quiz sessions. Yeah. So I mean, I think there's a small copy and paste error here. This only covers the egrets and cormorants, not larks. Egrets and cormorants found in South India. It's only meant for beginners to intermediate bird watchers. Uses a simplified process. All the pictures used are my own, except for one or two. Picture credits are stated in the below the picture itself. So let's first start with how to go about identifying cormorants. Cormorants is a family which is represented by three species, not just in our region, but for the entire India as well. We have like the little cormorant, the Indian cormorant, and the great cormorant. As the name implies, Indian little cormorant is the smallest of the group at 51 centimeters. So the Indian cormorant is slightly bigger at 63. And the great cormorant is the biggest of the three at 80 to 100 centimeters. And Indian cormorant is also known as the Indian shag or simply a shag. So if you are looking at some of the old references, you can see that in the Indian cormorant is referred as shag. So just a pointer so that you don't get confused when you're looking at old literature. So what are the points to note while looking at cormorants and how to go about identifying them? Now, I think basically the first thing that you need to look at is the length and the thickness of the beak. It's a short beak, a long beak, a thin slender beak, or a thick beak. What is the shape of the head? What is the color of the eyes? Extent of the gular pouch. So we'll be having a lot of pictures. So let me explain what is what. Yeah, so starting with the little cormorant. So little cormorant has like a very short beak in proportion to its head. And the little cormorant looks very different as a juvenile, non-breeding and a breeding plumage. So I presented all the three pictures. So in a juvenile plumage, you can see that at the base of the beak, you can normally see like a white patch, which is not there in the non-breeding or the breeding plumage. So in the breeding plumage, you can see that the little cormorant is almost entirely black. So it has like very dark eyes. It has like a slightly longer tail in proportion to the rest of its body. And the shape of the head is also like, looks like a rectangle. So that is like one of the identifying features for a little cormorant. Now coming to Indian cormorant, so again we have the juvenile, non-breeding and breeding plumage listed. In the breeding plumage, it's almost like entirely black, except for like some plumes on the head, which you can see over here. And in the breeding and the non-breeding plumage, what you can see is like normally they have like this emerald green eyes, which are not very prominent when it is like in a juvenile, but it is like usually in a breeding plumage or non-breeding plumage, the emerald eyes are very prominent. It has like a long, slender beak, as opposed to the short beak what we saw at the with the little cormorant. So it has like a long, slender beak. It has like an oval-shaped head, and it has like a long tail. As with the little cormorant, it has like a long tail. So these are some of the differentiating parameters with the little cormorant. So the main being long slender beak and the emerald green eyes. So coming to the great cormorant, so what you have is like this is the juvenile, non-breeding and the breeding plumage. So you have like a fairly large head. It's also like looks very angular with respect to the beak. It has like a very thick beak, and it has like dark eyes. It has a short tail in proportion to the body. And when I say like long tail or a short tail, you can appreciate this fact better when you see the birds in flight rather than when it is perching. And in breeding plumage, normally the great cormorant has like a white patch on its thighs. It has the cheek and the throat usually have this white patches, and on the neck also there are a lot of plumes, whitish plumes that you can see here on the bird on the right, the breeding plumage. So which is some of the differentiating parameters when it comes to a great cormorant. So a large angular head, a thick beak, dark eyes, and a short tail. So in summary, in little cormorant, the beak is rather short in proportion to its head. The intermediate cormorant, it has like a slender and a long beak. A great cormorant has like a thick and long beak. Head shape, little cormorant has a rectangular head. Intermediate cormorant has like an oval-shaped head, and a great cormorant has like a large and angular head. The eye color, the little cormorant has dark eyes. Intermediate cormorant has like emerald green eyes. Particularly, it's like more pronounced in the breeding plumage, and also sometimes in the non-breeding plumage as well. Great cormorant is like has dark eyes. It has like greenish tinge to it, but then it's not as pronounced as the eyes of the intermediate cormorant. The tail for the little cormorant is long. Intermediate cormorant is also long in proportion to the body. And the great cormorant is relatively short when compared to the other two cormorants. Okay, so and now we come to the identification quiz. So we have looked at three species: the little, intermediate, little, Indian, and great cormorant. So all the three species are resident species. So we can easily differentiate them. And while going for the identification quiz, now you can unmute your microphones. You can try to attempt the quiz, and there are no prizes except for increased knowledge, perhaps. So without further ado, let's get started with the quiz. So identify the cormorant. And,
Indian cormorant.
This is the Indian or the intermediate cormorant?
Emerald eye.
Yeah, so it has like a long, slender beak, emerald green eyes. So emerald green eyes, like it's a giveaway. You don't need to look at anything else. It is like an Indian cormorant. Congratulations. Yeah. So identify this cormorant.
Little cormorant.
Small. Little.
Little cormorant, right? Yeah, so it's like a little cormorant. So the bill is like relatively short in proportion to the head. The head, it has like a rectangular head and relatively a longer tail. So, and the eyes are dark. So these are the identification pointers. This happens to be like a juvenile little cormorant. So identify this cormorant.
Greater cormorant.
Breeding. Because of the white patch.
Great cormorant.
Great cormorant breeding.
Oh, why is it the great cormorant?
Because of the gray patch and the decurved beak and the white gular patch.
No, but I think it's an
Emerald
Indian cormorant
eyes.
because of the emerald eyes. Yeah.
No, the white
No, there
patch
is
here.
no emerald eyes.
White patch on the tie.
White patch on the wing.
White patch signifies it's a great
Breeding.
cormorant.
Yeah, as you all, majority of you said, like it is a great cormorant. It has like the white patch on its thigh. It is like a great cormorant in a breeding plumage. You can see the white cheek and throat patches. The gular pouch is also very pronounced. It has like a thick and a long beak. The eyes has a greenish tinge, but it is like largely dark eyes. But in the Indian cormorant, you could see how bright the eyes are, bright green. And in the great cormorant, it is not like as bright. So it's like a great cormorant in a breeding plumage. So if there are any questions at this point, I'll stop and answer these questions. If not, I'll proceed with the rest of the presentation.
Sir.
Yeah.
One of the doubts is this: the little, intermediate, large. This large cormorant and intermediate were also little once upon a time, no? So will the size, we always compare only the mature adults. What about a small, large cormorant? Will it be as small as the ones or they'll be too immature? How do we make them out, sir?
There is not like much of a difference. See, actually, when I gave the, so the great cormorant, there'll be like a difference, like 80 to 100 centimeters. And Indian cormorant is 63 centimeters and the little cormorant is about 51 centimeters. So only the great cormorant you will find like in different ranges. So the moment that you see a bird outside its nest, you can assume that it is like, it's almost like of this size. There is not much of a variation in depending on the age. So when the bird leaves its nest, it's usually like about this size. Is this clear, or you want me to explain more?
No, sir, it's quite clear, but that was the basic date, because every time we say little or intermediate, my concern was that the great cormorant also would have been little once upon a time. So will a little cormorant and a little great cormorant be dissimilar, or will they be similar? That was...
No, actually, when they like, even though there's like a non-breeding, juvenile non-breeding and a breeding plumage, So if they have already left their nest, they've already like almost like fully grown. It's only the plumage that changes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
That's clear.
Yeah, okay. Okay, friends, I think all of you can mute your microphones at this point. I'll proceed with the rest of the presentation. And then when we get to the point where there's another identification quiz, we can again unmute and answer the identification quiz.
Sir, I just had a question whether breeding happens at any particular time during the year. Is it seasonal? Is there a specific months when the breeding happens? Or
So all the three cormorants that we see here, the little Indian and the great cormorant, they're all resident species. And resident species, what tends to happen is like depending on where they are. For example, in Tamil Nadu, they tend to breed during the almost like the end of the summer months. They start breeding during the end of the summer months, and then they so the reason is like there's a lot of food availability just during the onset of the monsoons. So they time their breeding so that the chicks arrive just before or during the monsoon, and there's a lot of fishes available. And sometimes like some of these cormorants also, if there's like a lot of food availability, they lays multiple broods every year. Multiple broods in the sense like they nest 2 or 3 times every year.
Okay.
If there's like enough food availability during the year, they do that also. Is that clear?
thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very clear. Thank you.
Right. Okay, so if you can all mute your microphones, I'll proceed with the rest of the presentation. So identifying egrets. So the egrets are like a very troublesome group to identify because they're all white and they have very confusing non-brooding and breeding plumages. So it's quite a challenge to identify the egrets accurately, particularly when we go on surveys and things like that. We tend to ignore the egrets because they're all white and sort of boring birds to look at. But if you really look at some of the intricacies of identifying them during the breeding and non-breeding plumage, at the end of a presentation, you will appreciate it can be quite challenging to identify the egrets as well. So let's get started. So the egrets which are found in our region are the cattle egret, the little egret, the intermediate egret, and the great egret. So as the name implies, like they sort of like of very different size ranges. The cattle egret is about 48 to 53 centimeters. The little egret is 55 to 65. Intermediate egret is 65 to 72, and great egret is 90 to 102 centimeters. So it's not that we're going to take a scale and go to the field and measure the birds in order to identify them, but just like keep this in mind because I mean, sometimes like it becomes obvious that it could only be like one of the smaller egrets or one of the larger egrets. When you're looking for birds, it can help you eliminate a couple of species when you see them in the field. Yeah. So with respect to egrets, what we need to do is like we need to look at the size of the bird. What is the color of the beak? What is the color of the legs? Color of the feet? And the extent of the gape line. So these are some of the pointers that we need to look at. Additionally, I'll also during the breeding season, we also have to look at the lores of the bird in order to be certain, like we are identifying the correct species, because the size can be sometimes misleading in the field. Yeah. So the first is like the most common species that we see around us, like is the cattle egret. So wherever there's like, fresh field that's being plowed, whether it's by cattle or by tractors, you'll find the egrets, flocking together to those fields to pick on these worms and other small insects. So it has like a very yellow bill, dark legs, and in the non-breeding plumage, it's the feathers are almost like always white. But in the breeding time, however, it develops like an orange buff on the head, like the individual that you see here. It has like an orange buff on the head, the neck, and the mantle. So this is a bird which is like photographed during the breeding time. So this is how like a typical cattle egret looks like. Now coming to the little egret is again like another fairly common bird, but you'll tend to see little egrets more in the wetlands rather than in the agricultural fields. Whereas like the cattle egrets are a little more widespread when compared to the little egrets. So little egrets have like, black beak, black legs, and it has like a yellow foot. So sometimes some people prefer to call it as the yellow shoe. And in the breeding plumage, the little egret has like plumes on the nape. Are you able to see my cursor? Yeah. So you can see there are plumes. Plumes are like, sort of like fine feathers that you can see it in the breast and in the mantle. Very fine feathers. You will see them only in the breeding season and not in the other times. So little egret has like black beak, dark legs, and a yellow foot. So if you see this combination, you can be sure it is like a little egret. But there is a caveat to this rule. I'll probably mention it towards the end of this presentation. I don't want to confuse you at this point. So when it comes to the intermediate egret is like fairly larger in size when compared to the cattle egret and the little egret. It has like a yellow bill, but the yellow bill will always have like a dark tip. It has like a dark legs. This is in the non-breeding plumage. In the breeding plumage, it looks like a completely different bird. I'll show you that picture as well. In the breeding plumage, it will have like plumes on the breast and the mantle. You can see these fine feathers on the breast and also on the mantle. So you will see more of them in the breeding plumage. And the breeding plumage, you won't see this yellow bill. The bill becomes completely black. And the lores, the patch between the eye to the beak, that area becomes like yellowish green in the breeding plumage. I'll show you a picture in some time so you can appreciate this feature better. And one of the important things that we have to make a note of is that intermediate egret, the gape line does not extend beyond the eye. So the eye ends here, the gape line also ends here. And you can see the black tip to the yellow beak. This is in the non-breeding plumage. So these are some of the points that you can observe in an intermediate egret. And this is an intermediate egret in the breeding plumage. So you can see that it has plumes on the breast and on the mantle, and it has like a completely black beak. So it looks like almost like a completely different bird. So here it has like yellow beak, and here it has like a black beak, and you can see the yellowish green lores. And this picture is not mine. It was taken from the Oriental Bird Images website, and from one Mr. Amar Singh, yeah. So this is like how an intermediate egret looks in the breeding plumage. Yeah. So this is a great egret. Now, if you see the great egret in the non-breeding plumage, it has like a yellow bill. There's no dark tip to the yellow bill. It has like dark legs, and when it assumes the breeding plumage, it has plumes only on the mantle. So little egret has like plumes on the nape. It has on the breast. It has on the mantle as well. The intermediate egret does not have any plumes on the nape or on the breast. Sorry, it has only on the breast and the mantle. The great egret only has on the mantle. It doesn't have plumes on the nape. It doesn't have plumes on the breast in the breeding plumage. And the lores of the great egret are greenish in the breeding plumage. I'll show you the picture in just a bit. Yeah, so the main thing about the great egret is that it has like, you can see that it has like a very long, slender neck, and it has like a kink, a type of bend on its neck, which is very pronounced. You can appreciate in the field. And the gape line as a differentiating factor from the intermediate egret, you can see that the gape line extends beyond the eye. I'll show you a close-up. This is another individual, great egret. You can see that the gape line, it extends behind the eye. And it does not have that yellow tip what you can see in the intermediate egret. So in the non-breeding plumage, this is how you differentiate the great egret and the intermediate egret. Remember that the gape line extends beyond the eye in the great egret, and in the intermediate egret, it stops right at the end of the eye. Yeah. So if you look at this is the great egret in the breeding plumage, you can see that it has like a completely black beak and black legs. And you can see that it only have plumes in the mantle, no plumes on the breast or on the nape. And it has like this a very greenish lores, the area between the beak to the eye. So this area is greenish. So this is very, very pronounced in the great egret. So in summary, you can see that the great egret, the size is about 48 to 53 centimeters. Sorry, the cattle egret, the size is 48 to 53 centimeters. The color of the beak is yellow. The color of eggs is dark. Color of feet is also dark. And when it comes to little egret, the size is 55 to 65. So it is between cattle and intermediate egret in size. The color of the beak is dark. Color of the legs is also dark. Color of the feet is yellow. So it's almost like wearing a yellow color shoe. And the lores in the breeding plumage is grayish or yellowish. It has plumes in the nape, breast, and the mantle in the breeding plumage. And intermediate egret, 65 to 75 centimeters. So the size is between little and great egret. Non-breeding plumage, it is yellow beak with a black tip. And the breeding plumage, the beak becomes completely black. The color of the legs is dark. Color of the feet is also dark. So the only egret with a yellow color feet is the little egret. And the gape line in the intermediate egret extends up to the eye. And the lores in the breeding plumage are yellowish green, and the plumes in the breeding plumage is in the breast and the mantle. It doesn't have plumes on the nape. The great egret, the size is 80 to 100 centimeters. Non-breeding beak color is yellow. Breeding, it becomes completely black. The color of the legs is dark. Color of feet is also dark. The gape line extends beyond the eye. The lores in the breeding plumage is greenish, and the plumes in the breeding plumage you can only see in the mantle. You can't see it in the nape or the breast. Yeah, you can unmute and try to answer the questions. Yeah, so identify this egret.
Little egret.
Okay,
Foot is not egret.
Yeah, yellow feet, little egret. Yeah.
little egret. Okay. Any other opinions?
But the neck is long. So it will be the great egret.
A little egret, because there are plumes on the nape. Is that the nape? The behind the head, near the head
Yeah,
also
behind
there are
head,
plumes.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can
So
see hint of
little
the
egret?
plumes. It's not
Okay.
fully in breeding plumage.
Breeding. Okay.
Yeah, so it is like a little egret. The little egret is the only one which has like a yellow feet. So irrespective of whether it's a breeding or a non-breeding plumage, little egret is the only one with a yellow feet. So if you find a bird with a yellow feet, you can be very sure that it's a little egret. So congratulations. And we'll proceed with the next question. Yeah. Yeah, so this is one of the egrets.
It's an intermediate egret.
Intermediate.
Egret.
Cattle
It has a
egret?
black tip. It has a black tip on the bill, the yellow bill.
Oh yeah.
The tip is black.
Yeah,
Okay.
the tip is black. Intermediate.
Any other opinions?
I'm confused between an intermediate and a cattle egret.
You're confused between a maiden and a cattle egret. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So as Harini ma'am rightly pointed out, it is indeed a intermediate egret. The cattle egret never shows this dark tip to the beak.
Bill.
So,
Okay.
so if you look at the overall size of the bird, it can only be two egrets, the intermediate and the large egret. And the large egret does not show that dark tip to the beak. So you can be fairly certain that it is like a intermediate egret, and you can also confirm the fact that the gape line doesn't extend beyond its eye. So between the intermediate and the great egret, you can eliminate the great egret because of this fact. And the cattle egret is anyway eliminated because the cattle egret does not have the dark tip to the beak. So it is an intermediate egret. Again, congratulations, Harini ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to give like an additional clue to this picture because it's not very obvious. It happens to be one of the smaller egrets.
Cattle egret.
Cattle egret.
Cattle egret.
There's
I heard a couple of people mention cattle egrets. Any other opinion?
Intermediate.
Intermediate. Okay.
Yellow beak and black leg.
Yeah. Yeah. So
cattle egret because
this is
there's a
something
coloration
which-
on the head.
yeah. So see, actually, when you see this bird in the field, you will not make this mistake because you'll be able to appreciate the size of the bird. That's why I mentioned that it is like one of the smaller egrets. And I don't want to confuse you any further. It's like a cattle egret. And sometimes like when the cattle egret stretches out its neck, usually sits in a very crouched position with the neck retracted, but when it is alert, it does stretch out its neck. But it's one of the smaller egrets. It has like relatively short legs in proportion to the body. And it cannot be an intermediate egret because it doesn't have like a black tip to the beak. So it is like a cattle egret. Is it satisfactory, or should we go?
It's fine. It's satisfactory.
Okay.
Understandable.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll go to the next individual for identification. I don't know if I can zoom this picture if you want. This is one of the larger egrets.
The great egret.
Great egret.
But then the tip looks dark.
The gape line is going beyond the eye.
Okay.
I think it's not very clear, but
Great.
Yeah, now it's clearly seen
There's no black
what
spot
Hari
on the
said.
beak.
Any other opinions?
Great egret.
Because the beak is a bit grayish, but the gape line extends beyond the eye. It should be greater egret. And the dark green lores.
Ma'am, actually, the lores, I want to clarify here that the lores are only critical when we are trying to identify the breeding birds. Because all the breeding birds, like whether it's intermediate or the great egret, the beak becomes completely black. So to distinguish, you need to look at the lores. But as I said, like for the identification quiz, we are only going to deal with birds in the non-breeding plumage, because it will require a lot of field experience to distinguish breeding birds, particularly the intermediate and the great egret. So as most of you rightly pointed out, it is indeed a great egret. And the reason why it's a great egret is, as you said, the gape line extends behind the eye. You can see it extend beyond the eye here. And it doesn't have like that dark tip to the beak. It has like a very long, slender beak. Yeah, so, and as I mentioned, it's one of these bigger egrets. There are only two bigger egrets, the intermediate and the great. And because the gape line extends behind the eye, and because there's no dark tip to the beak, we can safely conclude that it's like a great egret. So we have come to the end of the conclusion. Thank you very much for a very patient listening. So these are my contact details. If anybody wants to, you have any query, I'll be very happy to take them offline as well. But we do have some time for Q&A right now.